So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at this product right here. This is the ToolkitRC M8S. Now the S is very important. We're going to cover its overall functions and some of the crazy features it has. And we're also going to short circuit this thing and see what happens and how to fix it. And it's going to be a pretty interesting video. So stick around and let's get started. Alright, so first of all, as you can see, we have an input here from 7 to 30 volts. You need this to run this whole system here. So you can provide it with any battery. It's basically a battery charger with a bunch of extra features. It could charge up to an 8S voltage, which is really nice. And we have our output here. Now, for example, what's really cool about this is a 4S LiPo. So if we plugged in a 4S LiPo here, we will still be able to charge an 8S because it has a boosting converter inside. Huge plus, really nice in that perspective. And if we take a look at the left side here, we have a 5 volt 2.1 amp USB, so you can do your USB charging. And it also comes with a special cable that connects it to the PC, so you can possibly do some flashing later on. I haven't looked into that. And here, this is really interesting. This is really cool. So here you can test out servos, get the center point of servos, also output S-bus signal. You can also receive an S-bus signal to see if your receiver is actually working, which we'll cover. And you can do many things, which we're going to take a look at right now. So the first thing you want to do, obviously, is power this guy on. And we're going to wait for it to boot up here. So it boots up pretty quick, really nice. So we're going to come back to the charging functionality and we're going to go into the measure real quick. But the most important features, or my favorite features, are in the output here. But we're going to take it one step at a time. So measure here is obviously to measure some stuff. So for the first option in measure, we have the battery right here. And right now we can change it to either voltage, or we can change it to the internal resistance of the current LiPo I have plugged in, but make sure your balance connector is also connected here. So we see that this battery is actually pretty good because all the resistance are pretty equal, so that's huge. You never want to see it be like 30, one of them 30 and the rest are all 19. That's pretty bad. And you probably see that the battery is not balancing very well when you charge it, or one of the cells usually go lower than the rest. So keep that in mind here. So we have the battery here, nothing really special. PWM, this is really cool. If you have PWM receiver, you can connect one channel here and receive the width, so you know the more information about the PWM signal that's being outputted. This is used for specialized applications, or if you're just curious, you can do that. That's a really nice feature. Also, we have PPM. We can measure the PPM, see if the PPM receiver is working here. It'll actually give us the readings for each channel, and those all connect right here to the left. We have the minus, plus, and the signal. The signal is usually the S-bus signal, or will it be the PWM signal? That's where it would go right here, or the PPM. Now this will output 5 volts, so if you have a Spectrum, you might burn it. Keep that in mind. Spectrum receivers usually take 3.3 volts. Next, we have the S-bus, so we can also see the S-bus channels working if we connected one. And this is a really cool feature right here. So this is called ESC. So we can do a maximum of 18 amps. And how does this work? You might be like, okay, well, what's really cool about this, if we grab an ESC, and we stick it on a thrust stand. You have to stick this on a thrust stand. Connect the motor to the ESC, and then somehow connect the ESC power here. And then what you want to do is the ESC signal, you're going to want to connect it right here. And once we click on that, this basically kind of turns into an all-in-one computer system for testing thrust, if you might say. And here you could set the throttle, so you want to test 50% throttle and click start. You can see it moving and working, so that's really great into that perspective. So you can test ESC/motors also. So it's really nice into that perspective. If you have a bad motor and an ESC hanging around, don't put a propeller, just turn it on and run this, and that's really nice. It can give you an example if the motor is bad or the ESC is bad. And this is the reason why they're calling it the toolkit, because it is actually a toolkit for making your life slightly easier. And again, don't forget it charges everything. This is where it gets interesting. So if we go into output, it says do not short circuit. And I short circuit this on purpose to see what happens, and I'll show you what exactly happened inside, but it's still working. So if you do short circuit the output here, whether you're charging a battery or anything, then it'll stop charging. This port will basically stop functioning, but it's an easy fix because there's actual fuse inside, and we can bypass the fuse, which I don't recommend, but I just want to quickly show you this feature. So this is acting right now where we go into power. It's acting as a power supply, and currently we have a battery plugged in, so we plug that in here. And we can set, it has some predefined settings here, which is really cool. We can set custom. We could put whatever voltage we want it to output for something and limit the current to a minimum of 1 amp. You can't go below 1 amp. If we flip over, it has a pre-configured one for the Mavic. So if you wanted to connect the Mavic directly from here, it'll set up the correct voltage and the correct amperage. Mavic S, which I find really cool. Also the Phantom, the Inspire, and that's about it. But where we want to go is we want to go to custom. Now through is basically, it'll give the exact voltage coming in from the battery, but you could limit the current. Now we're just going to do custom here. So I'm going to go to custom and I'm going to make it 13 volts. Now what's really cool, we can see the input voltage. So right now this battery that's coming in is giving us 15.1 volts. And we can actually increase the voltage because of the step up. So we can simulate a full 4S battery here. And here we'll limit the current to, let's just say 1 amp. Now what you can use this for is to test if a flight controller is working or an ESC is possibly working, and or you can revive dead batteries. But I'm not going to tell you how to do that because that step is very dangerous. So here we've set 16.8 volts, 1 amp to limit our current to 1 amp. And once we click start, out of this side right here, it'll give us 16.8 volts with a maximum of 1 amp voltage. So right now I'm going to go ahead and bring this brand new SpeedyBee V2. I'm going to give it the positive here. So for example, I wanted to test if it's working before starting to install it or soldering any wires. So I'm going to click on start. And now we can see we got 16.8 volts. Now, if I were to touch this all-in-one flight controller is negative, then we should see LEDs boot up here. And that's what we see. So we are getting voltage current. Now, by mistake, if you accidentally shorted these two out, what happens inside is it'll stop functioning. Everything will still work. There's going to be no fire, which is really nice and something you want. So this product is pretty safe out of the box, and I wanted to make sure I tested that before anything. So that's one of the features, and we're going to take it apart right now and take a look inside what would happen if you shorted it. Here we can also output PWM. So if you wanted to test for example, a servo. So this is very useful because there's actually just a dedicated tool to test servos sometimes, especially for people who use RC wings, to find the center point. So we can do start PWM, we can set it to manual, and we could even do some auto ones. Look at that. That's really cool. Auto 2, that's just doing it automatically. And here, if we go to manual, it's actually moving slightly. So the servo is actually moving, and then this is how you would find the center point. It's very important, especially again, if you're building an RC plane. So this would be the exact center point of this servo, which is 1,500. Hopefully you guys could see that here. So that's 1,500 right there. So that's really cool in that perspective. And we can also output PPM, and we can set whatever channel you want to do whatever you want. And we can also output S-Bus, which is also really cool here. So you can, set it up and then put whatever channel you want to change. And you can know if, the flight controller is actually reading the S-Bus if you do a wire that connects to the flight controller. So it can be used for a lot of things, especially debugging. And its main feature is portable charging. Now the portable charging is really nice because the specifications were wrong, and that's a good thing this time. And the reason for that is it actually charges more types of batteries than it was actually saying it does. So we have LiPo, lithium high volt, LiFe, lithium ion, nickel metal hydride, and lead acid batteries. Now what's really cool is we're not just limited to these types of batteries. And why is that, you might say? Well, because we can actually control the end voltage per cell. LiPo, the end voltage is 4.2, which means it's a full battery. And if we go to lithium high volt, 4.35. So you can modify this as you please, but only if you know what you're doing here. And also we have charging. So obviously we can charge, we can also discharge and do storage level. However, what's really cool is if we go into the settings when we're doing discharging, we can actually recycle the power. Not many devices like this do that. Usually what they do, if you're going to discharge one of these LiPos here, what it would do is probably just drop it all into the FETs and the heatsink and basically short it out on a big resistor and just dissipate the heat while it does that. But here, if we do discharge mode, we can do internally, which is going to be a little bit difficult to see. You can do internally and also recycle. So it'll recycle it back into the main battery that's giving the power. So it'll actually charge backwards. That's a really nice thing, by the way. That's really cool that it can do that. So you could charge that one back up. And it's a really nice feature. And we have a lot of things here we can go through. Nothing too interesting. You could change the theme. You could change the language. And everything here, usually you just leave it default. You don't need to play with that. So now to the main thing. Let's go ahead and take this guy apart to show you how to fix it if you short this thing out. Now, I don't recommend fixing it the same way I did, and we'll get into that once I take it apart. Taking it apart is going to be pretty simple. You're going to have to remove these little stickers. Just put them somewhere else. They still stay pretty sticky, so that's really nice into that perspective. They're very useful, especially if you have it on your car. hood or something so it doesn't scratch your car. But then again, it's just plastic. But I mean, if you wanted to take care of your car, then, or whatever you're going to be placing it on, it's really nice to have those bottom feet, because they also reduce the chance of it slipping. So once we remove those 4 screws, we can actually, let's flip it upside down. It's better to keep it upside down. This piece just comes right off. You don't need to pop anything. We have 1 ribbon connector right here. Don't pull this one this way. You want to pick it up that way. So just like that, and it comes right up. And then we can slowly start to lift the main board out. Make sure obviously no batteries connected. So we got this one off here. And once we flip it over, we have 3 more wired connectors. So we'll remove this one. We'll remove this one. And then we have 1 more down here. And that's removed here. So immediately when I took it apart, I wanted to see if I could find any fuses after it stopped working, because if you do short this out on the end right here, I don't know what happens if you do it here, but if you do it here, it's just going to blow this fuse right there. Now, you could go ahead and purchase another fuse to replace it, but for me, what I've done in this tutorial right now is I actually just ran a wire from here to here. I just soldered it to the top of it. I do not recommend you do this. Your probability of catching it on fire is very likely. But for everyday use, I do not recommend you do this right here. You bridge them directly, because then you remove all of the safety, most of the main safety feature here. So I'd highly recommend you replace this fuse. I'll see if I can find it online, and you just pop this off like a SMD capacitor, and you just put a new one in, and everything will function back to normal. So another thing to take note of here, if you accidentally shorted it and you didn't know you have, some common sense might tell you, okay, I have it to output 12 volts. And if you go and actually measure this with a multimeter on 12 volts, the voltage will still be there. It'll still read the voltage, but it will not allow any current to pass through. So keep that in mind. The fuse here is allowing the current to pass through. I haven't traced it down exactly, but this is a fuse and this is what blew, which is really, really nice that it has this safety feature. However, I do wish they've incorporated a self-resetting fuse, which would have been so much better. You just reboot the thing and it fixes itself back up. But that is not the case here. We have a dedicated fuse, which will need to be replaced. Now you can also hack this fuse with some sort of a car fuse. You'll just take 1 wire here and 1 wire here and just, connect it externally, or you can find a way to stick it inside. You can set it up to 10 amps, 15 amps, 50 amps. I don't recommend you go over 5 to 10 amps on this fuse, but it's up to you at the end. But do not connect it direct like this. I just be really careful. And I just wanted to let you know that this is the main culprit here. If you're not getting any voltage, I mean, you'll get voltage, but if it's not doing anything here, just because the fuse blew up, that's right in here. And overall, I really like it. The only thing, again, I don't like is I wish it had a self-resetting fuse. That would have been really, really great. But everything else, it has a proper heat sink. It even has 2 fans inside. So it is pretty well made, in my opinion. I really do like the heat sink. They're using just really nice components. It looks like really great build quality. So I think they are trying their best to create a proper product here. And it is showing. You can see by the build quality, it's really, really nice here. I have nothing to complain about, and again, except the fuse here. I wish, or maybe they would have done it a slightly differently, where it's going to be easier for the customer to replace. But this is, don't throw this device in the trash if this happened to you. And if you don't know how to SMD solder, buy the fuse, which I'll try to have linked down below if I find it, and take it to a phone shop or a computer repair shop. Show them this video or take a picture of this. Tell them once you take it apart, it's going to be there. Just replace it for me, and you're going to be good in that perspective. So you don't have to do this yourself. You can go ahead. They'll probably charge you like $5 to $10. I don't know, depending on your country. But if you were here, you could just give it to me, and I would have just done it for you for free. But yeah, anybody will replace this for you. Super simple. It's not that complicated, and we'll get you going. Just be careful not to short circuit it. And I really like the safety feature here. I wish it could be improved, but overall, in my opinion, as of right now, seeing it, testing it, and using it, I really would recommend this product because I feel as if it's really safe. And well, that's it, guys. I'm going to have it linked down below. I'm also going to have the coupons linked down below. You might be able to find a really great coupon for this, and I'll see you in the next one, guys.